Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Sammy and welcome to my channel. I'm super excited to get this started. I've been meaning to do it for quite some time now. If you follow me on my Tumblr account that's called Our Marvelous Universe, you've definitely seen me post about this a couple times. I really wanted to get this started and it seemed like a really good idea from the people who follow me on Tumblr, so I cannot wait to get this channel started. Basically, it's going to be me talking about movies and just breaking down things in the movie atmosphere and field. Some of my favorite movies are the Marvel movies, and I have a ton of theories sparking from, of course, Infinity War. So I can't wait to start talking about them and breaking them down on my channel, and I hope you guys enjoy these videos. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel down below, and don't forget to hit the bell so you can get notifications every time I post a new video. And I promise you future videos will be better quality. I'm working on getting a new camera, one that films a lot better and picks up my voice a lot better than this. So hold tight and I promise the video quality will be better moving forward. So today's video, I'm super excited to talk about this topic. It's been very requested on my Tumblr channel and I really cannot wait to break this down. Today's topic are theories on why Loki can still be alive in the MCU, especially coming back in Avengers 4. So I know this might seem like a bit of a stretch for a lot of people, but I definitely do think there are some really plausible theories that can explain how the God of Mischief can come back. So let's get into it. Okay, so first I want to talk about ways that I just don't think he's coming back. I've heard a lot of theories online, or I've seen a lot of theories online, and I don't think all of them are necessarily possible. I think a lot of it is just fans getting kind of desperate, hoping that he does come back. So let's break some of these down and debunk them. So the first theory that I don't think is possible for a Loki return is the theory that he is posing as Bruce Banner or the Hulk. So a lot of people think that this is possible because like the Hulk had problems turning into, or Bruce Banner had problems turning into the Hulk. And also his reunion with Natasha was really awkward. The very character of Bruce Banner seemed very off in Infinity War. And I will give that theory that he was off. They wrote really a weird style for Bruce Banner in this movie. And I think part of that comes with the plot that they're trying to work into him, and that the Hulk and Bruce are two pretty separate entities at this point, and that's like what their character arc is going to be. It started in Ragnarok and it'll end like that in Avengers 4, so we'll see what's going on with that. But I don't think that the Loki posing as Bruce Banner theory is possible. There's just a lot of holes in the theory that I just think it's definitely a stretch, and I don't think there are definitely interviews out there where the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige are talking about how Bruce Banner and the Hulk are going through a 3-movie plot arc that started in Ragnarok and will end in Avengers 4. So I just don't think that's the route that they would go with either Loki or Bruce Banner at this point. So the next theory that I want to kind of debunk is the theory that you can see Loki in the debris. Like in Infinity War, people have like said that him being choked out, you can see like debris and it looks like the horns on his helmet. I just think that's definitely not him. It's debris. Like there would have been some sort of nod to that in Infinity War. Like you would have definitely got a sense of what was up, like he was casting an illusion from far away. They would have shown a glimpse of that in Infinity War, and I just don't think that's a possible theory at this point. So let's move on to what I do think are possible theories for how Loki can come back in Avengers 4. So here's kind of the groundwork of what I'm thinking. I think that Loki did actually die in Infinity War. I think we actually saw Loki die and Thanos did kill him. And so that's really sad. I know it was super hard to watch. I'm a huge Loki fan, so watching that in the theater was really sad. But I don't think we're done with Loki yet, because there are a few things that were said in Infinity War that I think really point to Loki coming back. So the first thing that I want to point out is Loki's demeanor and attitude and presence on screen in Infinity War. After he says we have a Hulk to Thanos, he disappears from screen for a good 5 minutes and you don't see Loki. So I think that's a really weird setup for how that happened. I just think it's strange that he was off screen for 5 minutes and no one saw him. And then when he does appear on screen, he's like got this really cocky demeanor and attitude. Like, I will take the Black Order to Earth and help them there. And he's really cocky about that while he's saying it. And I think it's strange and just kind of like the attempt to kill Thanos. Like, if at the end of the day, what we saw in Infinity War is the end of Loki's story, I honestly just think the writing was it was just really poor. It was out of character. I would have rather seen Loki try to cast an illusion, try to do something different than just kind of take a dagger and try and stab Thanos. Like, it's really illogical. I would have rather had seen Loki try and take down Thanos with some magic than just with his little dagger. So I think if that's how they leave the Loki character in Infinity War, it's just poor writing on their end. And I never ever say that about any Marvel movie. So I just think that that's a good point too. We're not done with Loki, is that the writing for Loki was so out of character. And I do think that 5 minutes when Loki is not on screen, something did happen. And here's what I think. I think based on the set photos that we've seen from Avengers 4, they're back on the set of Avengers 1 in New York, the Battle of New York. That's the set they're on. And I think that Tony Stark goes back to that timeline and convinces Loki to give him the Tesseract and the scepter, which had the Mind Stone, so that they could destroy those Infinity Stones or either use them for their own gauntlet, like go back in time to get alternate versions from alternate realities of the Infinity Stones so they can have their own gauntlet. And while he goes back in time, Tony Stark convinces Loki that if you follow this timeline and this series of events, it's not going to work out for you. And so I think that not Tony, but Loki goes forward in time to that point in Infinity War and kind of pulls Loki aside those 5 minutes when he's not on screen and tells him what happens. And then either the present Infinity War Loki will step out and sacrifice himself, and the past version of Loki will live in the current timeline, or the past version of Loki will step out and take the place of the current version of Loki and die in his place. So we will be left with one version of Loki, either from the current timeline or the past timeline. I'm not sure. But I think that's really possible. That's definitely a route that they could go. And I'm not saying that that the Russo brothers or Kevin Feige or anyone at Marvel would necessarily use the Loki character moving forward, but I think that would leave them an option to perhaps tap into Tom Hiddleston's Loki in future movies. Another reason I think that Tom Hiddleston will be back is that as Loki, another reason why I think Tom Hiddleston will be back as Loki is because there were some really cryptic lines from Loki in this movie. So, the one that I'm talking about is "The sun will shine on us again, brother." I don't know if this is just a throwaway line for Loki kind of saying something and, just to say it to Thor to be like, to trick Thanos, or I don't know. But I think that line was put in there for a reason. And I really do believe that it has meaning for Avengers 4. And Loki knew something, or knew he was going to come back, or knew what the timeline was. And he did really send a message to Thor in those words. Another nod is that Thanos says no resurrections this time. Now, Thanos, I really do believe, did kill that version of Loki in that timeline and in that reality. So, I do think that there won't be a resurrection of that version of Loki, but there could be a version of Loki that's brought in from another reality or another timeline. Obviously, it can only be from the past because there isn't really a present or a future version of Loki because he was killed. So I think maybe the past version of Loki is going to come back, like I said before. And so that line, I think, is really meant to make the death believable, because in a lot of interviews with the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige, they say that Loki's death in the first 5 minutes is meant to set up Thanos as a legitimate villain, someone who is meant to be taken seriously and means business. So they don't want you to sit there and think that Loki's death could be faked. So that line, I think, is put in there to the purpose to throw audiences off. Like, he blatantly just said no resurrections this time, so maybe Loki's not really coming back. But there's other lines that I just think prove that wrong, and that's the sun will shine on us again, brother line. Another line that I think is really interesting is when Thor says, he's talking to Rocket Raccoon after he meets the Guardians, and he's like, well, I really think my brother might be dead this time. I just don't know why that line would have been necessary, unless the Russo brothers and Kevin Feige are just trying to be like, yes, like, Loki's actually dead. Like, this is, like, they really want us to believe that. And so I think that it's just like you have 3 separate lines between Loki's line, Thanos' line, and Thor's line that are all addressing his death. So I just think it's just like overdone. Like, you're addressing it too much at this point. And I think by doing that, it does raise the question of, okay, maybe Loki is coming back in the future. A lot of people have also been talking about Tom Hiddleston's comments at Ace Comic Con in Seattle, I believe, where he was addressing that Loki actually died and he had known about it for a while. Of course he knew about it for a while. He is part of production. He has to know his lines. He has to know which direction his character is going in. But a lot of people freaked out about those comments. Like, let's all remember, one, he's an actor. He can make it believable. Like, of course Marvel wants you, and they're telling Tom Hiddleston, like, make it believable. Make it seem like Loki actually died. You're never going to have an actor be like, oh yeah, well, he's alive. Like, it's not gonna happen. Like, he wants to keep the guessing game going until Avengers 4 comes out. So I just think, like, for people who are freaking out about his comments at Ace Comic Con, don't put so much credit behind them. He's an actor. My feelings about this is, like, we know that a lot of the dusted characters are coming back. Like, we know Spider-Man's coming back because there's another Spider-Man movie. We know Black Panther is coming back because there's no way they killed off Black Panther after the success of the first movie. And we know Doctor Strange is coming back because there's definitely been talks of a Doctor Strange sequel. And, you know, I don't know what's going on with the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 status. Production right now was supposed to start filming in January, but after the James Gunn incident, I don't know what the status of that, but I'm sure it will happen. I don't think that they would scrap that movie because Kevin Feige's talked a lot about that being that movie being really essential to moving into Phase 4. So I'm very certain that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is going to happen without James Gunn. So, but we know from that, we know that at least some of the Guardians are coming back. So, in a sense, Avengers 4 is kind of spoiled. So when you're talking about the death of Loki or Gamora or Vision or someone who died without the powers of the stones, I think that they don't want to spoil that either. They want there to be twists and surprises and shock value in Avengers 4. So, like, they're not going to have people like Tom Hiddleston go to Ace Comic Con and hint that his character could come back. That's way too spoilery. At the end of the day, I do think that we will see Tom Hiddleston's Loki come back in Avengers 4. I'm not sure if it'll be just the flashback scenes. I'm not sure it'll be if it'll be he'll end up being in more movies in the future, but I do think they will leave that option on the table and they will bring back Tom Hiddleston's Loki in some way, shape, or form by the end of Avengers 4. one other reason I think that it would be smart to bring back Tom Hiddleston's Loki, or at least have the opportunity to continue Tom Hiddleston's Loki, is because I don't think that Marvel is done with Thor. Actually, I would be willing to bet that there will be, after Avengers 4 and when they start announcing Phase 4 movies and plans, I will be willing to bet that there will be at least one other Thor movie coming out in Phase 4, if not a trilogy moving forward even past Phase 4. Taika Waititi, the director of Thor Ragnarok, had such success and revamped the Thor franchise that I don't think they're willing to be done with Thor right now. So, of course, I feel like you cannot have a Thor movie without Loki. It would just be really weird. So I think they're going to leave the opportunity to have Loki appear in these movies on the table by the end of Avengers 4. Marvel kind of has to, like, he's essential to the Thor movies, and Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston have such good rapport, and Tom Hiddleston has been a really good part of every single Thor movie prior to this. So if Marvel does decide to renew Thor's or Chris Hemsworth's contract and sign Chris Hemsworth to another Thor movie, I think it would be really smart on Marvel's end to keep Tom Hiddleston in there. And like, he doesn't have to have a big part like he has in the last 3 Thor movies, but it would be nice to see him make an appearance in those movies as well. These are my theories, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want me to keep making videos and you want to keep hearing more of my theories regarding the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or see me discuss other movies, please subscribe, like this video, and comment down below, and I'll be sure to address all of your future movie questions. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to follow me on Tumblr at Our Marvelous Universe. Alright, bye guys!